podcast for Uchuu Sentai KyuuRanger. I am Vashi V, and I am here with...
The Little King.
And Rai, who totally remembered to start OBS.
It's the start of the week.
So, last week, last episode of KyuuRanger was a really good one, but only Zero and I could be here to talk about it. But it deserves more than that. We're going to do a follow-up that we couldn't do, so we're going to do it now. Last week's episode, which opens up with Sholampo giving his final command, "Don't die," before proceeding into an all-out assault on Don Armage. How do you guys feel about that?
Well, they've certainly got guts. I would also say a death wish, but, well, we know these guys, so... But holy crap! It was... The first part of it alone was absolutely insane. I loved it.
Yeah, overall, it was amazing. I was amazed at the route that this entire series just took with the last two episodes, this episode and the last one. I didn't see it coming in any way, shape, or form.
Oh man, we learned more about Tsurugi and Cuervo teaming up, breaking everyone out of a prison. Cuervo seemed genuinely happy back then to just be with Tsurugi. Like, it makes you wonder what really got to him.
I honestly think... I think I've said it before. This doesn't really feel like an either-or situation, unlike what we'll get to later. This feels like a mix of the two, because you have to remember, this mix of Cuervo and Don Armage has been alive for over 3 centuries. That is going to twist the head of anybody. It's been proven in media in general. Immortality screws with people's heads. This is no different. This is not Cuervo talking. This is not even Don Armage talking. This is a mix of the two. Neither of them are really thinking straight when they're in this kind of mindset, so I honestly can see why he would... I'm not condoning the way he's thinking in any shape or form. I'm just saying I see how it came to this.
I understand the mindset of both of them. Sugurdy was a little bit off for me, at least once the whole merging thing. Because, well, yes, he's that old. He was also in cryosleep for most of it. But then again, in fairness, who knows what cryosleep would do to a person for that long. I don't know. I think this one, unlike with Cuervo and Don Armage being merged, that one seemed more of I'm gonna use you, you use me kind of thing, where this one's literally just against wills. Because even with some of the way he talks, it seems more kind of forced when he's using Suguri's my word and the way Suguri himself talks. When the Don Armage version talks, it seems kind of forced.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
You know, kind of like Suguri's actively fighting against the possession.
We get one of Tsurugi's best moments, wherein concerned about what happened to Cuervo, who he thought was his best friend, he asks Lucky if he'll still be his friend when it's all done. That was really good. That was really strong.
Yeah, and it also felt like one of his, if not his biggest step forward in terms of development, because, as we've said time and again, this was a man who was brash, selfish, and arrogant. Now look at him. He's openly concerned, and he's trying not to repeat his mistakes. That shows humility, that shows understanding, and that shows a want for change. With this type of person especially, aisles. And that is incredible to see in this.
Right. When like Sugiri first showed up, is he was all about himself and everything else. Like King said, he was brash, arrogant. He was basically just a dick because his entire mentality was, I don't need you guys. Then it came down to, I'm gonna use you guys. Um, and then like we start getting the story of everything that's gone on and just the progression of his character just through the interactions he's having with Lucky and everybody else. He's had a damn lot of character development, just going from that arrogant asshole to somebody who is just like legitimately concerned about everybody else and his acceptance as part of the group.
And Zero didn't see like his introduction. He didn't see all that. So I got to explain to him how Tsurugi was basically like pushing them away because he didn't want to get close to them after what happened with Cuervo and all that stuff.
Which even for that was like the way they played that out in the story is like the fact that we didn't get really any of that information until they went back in time. Then we got that information of, well, this is what happened. And it's okay, now we understand why you are the way you are. And his entire attitude became acceptable, but you still see him push that aside throughout the episodes and more become a teammate slash, impromptu commander. And he took that mantle very, very well for how his character started.
Probably one of the most developed characters on the show, if not the most.
Yeah, well, he is Red.
The true Red.
Yes, I don't count Lucky until like the last 10 episodes.
We get a pretty good fight, and then a big confrontation against Don Armage, wherein they defeat him and knock him out of Cuervo, who's still like pent up from all his anger and rage. Which, like King said, it's been going on for hundreds of years. Like, he might not still be in his right state of mind anymore. Which kind of shocked me, because I was kind of expecting the whole stereotypical, like, oh, once they knock the evil out of him, he'll go back to good. It's like, nope. He pulls out a knife and tries to stab Tsurugi, who cuts him down in one final stroke. It's actually really heartbreaking, because Tsurugi has accepted that Cuervo is no longer the friend that stood beside him. Fortunately, Don Armage is a parasite and just wanted to weaken Tsurugi so he could get to his body. His immortal body from the Kyuutama. Except it's not immortal anymore, so he's gonna absorb Planesium to take it back. And absorbs Sho Lompo in the process. That shocked me.
Okay. Here's a little behind the scenes for you guys. When that happened, I actually came onto the site. I went to everybody I knew who would see it, and I will say what I said then. Somebody get me a Megazord and a Blaster. This fucker dies. Sho dying in that instant just basically shattered me for like a split second, because even he admits it. Like, I hope you can forgive me for this. I know it's out of character, but I have to do this. Oh my god! But in a way, it kind of is still in character for him. He may be an old man, he may make jokes, but he is their dad now. There is no denying that. So seeing a dad protect his kids, I get, and it hurts so much. But do not even get me started on Tsurugi. The Cuervo thing I love. That felt like sweet retribution. It felt like a perfect milestone for him. But seeing him just openly try to fight something he knows he's not gonna win, that was painful in itself. And just, oh my god! KyuuRanger, why?
Like Sholompo like sacrificing himself, like it was very very shocking to see, especially this late in the series. Like literally, at that point it was 2 episodes to go. The end of the episode, and then there were 2 more, and that's the end of the show. So having him basically sacrifice himself for everybody else was kind of the what the fuck just happened kind of moment, and it was very very well done. And even with it being out of character, like King said, it was in character. He is the commander. It is his job. Like it's not so much in this instance that he's a KyuuRanger. He is literally the commander of the KyuuRangers. He's their boss, so he's doing what he must to, for lack of a better term, protect the mission, keep them alive so they can do what they need to do. And if it means he's got to die to do it, then so be it. It shows it's more of a team rather than just, oh, you go do what I tell you to do, which, I mean, Sho's been on the front lines throughout this since basically he became a KyuuRanger. So it's one of those, it is out of character, but at the same time it's not. Like King said, it's a very fine line for Sho of what is actually considered in character now. Because he's gone back and forth between the joking, I know it all when I really don't. I'm just taking credit for shit that just happens. To I can fight with y'all too, and I'll follow Lucky's lead rather than just being that guy behind the desk. So like, it was an amazing scene. It's like, and like I said, it shocked the hell out of me because I'm just sitting going, wait, what? Somebody died. Because with the way this series went, it's like I only expected just the bad guys to die. Because they played it off with Stinger that he might die, and as well, it's the first arc. Nobody's gonna, they're not gonna kill off a Ranger yet. And then it gets to like this point, nobody's, kicked the bucket yet. So it's like, okay, well, everybody's gonna live, and well, fuck.
Yeah, like I didn't even think that far into about how Sholampo really is their dad, and yeah, how that's both in and out of character. That's more thought than I gave it. And then there's Tsurugi as he's being possessed saying, just kill me to stop him. Get it over with. And in the face of death, like he's already come to terms with his death. He's just ready for it. It was incredibly heavy and it was a lot to take on, especially for this series. And that's how that episode ends.
May I, or did you have anything else you want to say? Is there anything else you wanted to add?
For that episode, I think I'm good.
Same here.
Okay. I think I know one of the main grounding reasons and why. It just occurred to me now, but looking back, it does kind of fit at least. This seriously, and I know this is gonna sound silly, it kind of feels like the business with Exa and with Saki, because This feels like he's apologizing for something fault, and you have to move on without me. That it seriously feels like you're telling somebody who's just been diagnosed with cancer, you're gonna die, but you still have to take your medicine and move on. Like, that's seriously how it feels. Like, he's become such an integral part of this whole damn team. And for him to just talk like that, I'm sorry, but that's. I don't really know how to put it in words. It just. That's basically how I thought. I'm sorry, go on.
Like they were talking about a few episodes ago, when this is all over, they still have lives that they're gonna go back to or go to in the first place. They have things that they want to do. Uh, when this is over, it's not just gonna end for them. Now we move on to episode 47. It opens up with Don Armage, now possessing Tsurugi's body, absorbing a ton of planesium to restore Ho-Oh's immortality for himself. Lucky says that he has a plan, but it will risk everyone's life. He asks them to think about it, and if they accept, to meet up with him again. Everyone parts to think about it. Hame gets mad that Lucky would even consider the possibility that they would say no at this point after everything they've been through, and Garo agrees with her. They may have hated him when they first met him, but now they trust him with their lives. Raptor, oh god, this one broke my heart, is crying over Sho's death while Spada comforts her. And Kotaro continues to look up to Stinger as an older brother. It shows like Balance makes a joke about running away, but he actually just wanted to hold on to some of Naga's things to comfort him. Meanwhile, Naga realizes that he's afraid. And Balance gives him the best description for fear I've ever heard. It means that you have something you want to lose. We really see here how everyone has come. They've all got their own little groups. They haven't interacted with each other too much. But you see just how deep their bonds have grown in the groups that they've interacted with. It's actually incredibly heartwarming.
I could not agree with you on that, and obviously that's gonna take a lot more of a turn later, but we'll get there when we get there. Now, yeah, this was heartwarming and heart-wrenching all at once. Like, Himi and Gato seeing how far they've come in terms of trust and faith in not just Lucky, but in general, because generally those two honestly didn't care when we first met them. They, for different reasons and through different means, yes, but it was there, and to see them come this far, of course, Raptor, Spada, because, you know, I mean, Shida wasn't just all of their dad, more so, he was Raptor's dad, in a sense. After all they went through, seeing her just break down with Spada was, oh my god, that was painful. And Naga having fear now, that's huge for him. That's one of the biggest emotions possible. And Balance just thinking about Naga over himself now. when you look at the people we met on Jigama, that kid who didn't even know when to smile and laugh and when to cry when necessary, and the robot thief who would drop you for a dime, quite literally, into these two people is amazing. And seeing Stinger come so far in terms of giving up revenge for these people, Kotaro becoming so much stronger, both in body and mind, and Champ coming to terms with his past, just all of it coming together like it did. Oh my god, it was so amazing. And even with everybody thinking positively, thinking somehow, some way, we are going to put our faith in Lucky and this is going to work, you still, like you guys said, have that sense of we are screwed, but we are doing this because it's our last and best bet. And that is amazing for this.
Yeah, and it's extremely well done too, because like we get like the little clip.
Actually, you just cut out.
Ah, stupid ass Mike. Am I back yet?
Yes.
Okay. Like through the start of it, like this, we get like a couple of like flashback clips of like Lucky's interaction with Garu, punching him in the face and whatnot. It's like, and like Hami was right. It's like most of them hated, or like her and Garu especially hated Lucky to start with. Um, because like Hami more so because, from my interpretation, is here's these group of people who've been working together, and here's this brash jackass, and he's gonna lead them. That would have pissed me off too. Um, but the fact that they've all grown so close together that it's, well, why the hell would you think we wouldn't be up for this? Um, Naga and Balance's interaction through all of this was entirely my favorite because of the way Balance explained fear, with it being you have something to lose. It's a wonderful sentiment. It's the best way to describe fear, like general fear, like overall fear. Um, and then Hami breaking down in front of Spada was a nice touch, given,
Raptor.
or yeah, Raptor, sorry. Raptor breaking down in front of Spada, given the, I guess the way everything's been hinted at with them, that they're secretly in love with each other and just don't want to admit it, kind of thing. Um,
Sorry, Zero.
Weekly reminder that Zero hates shippers. There, I said it.
um, it's done really, really well. It's like just everything about this makes everything seem like it's so final, like how it should. It's like we're coming to the end. The stakes are literally life and death, and it's something I feel we haven't really had much of in terms of Sentai here lately, where it literally the stakes just feel like, they might not all just make it back. It's like, and it's very, very heartbreaking and heartwarming all at the same time to see like the little groups come together to try and comfort each other. And the way Lucky basically just stood off by himself, it was very, very well done.
Hame and Garo meeting up with each other felt a little strange to me at first because the two haven't talked to each other at all this like whole series. Uh, but what brought them together was how they both hated Lucky at the start, and that's why they're talking to each other now about how much they trust him. And that's kind of what connects them together. Uh, for Balance and Naga, like Balance always puts a positive spin on everything, and sadness or fear rather is generally considered a negative emotion. Leave it to him to make it sound so brave with Raptor. Yeah, we knew early on that she had a crush with Spada, and I complained that like they didn't actually do anything with it. And now here they are doing something with it, and it's so good. It's so fitting. And with her concern for Sholampo, like she actually just lost her father. How much she actually cared for him despite the annoyances and such. There's just so much going on that we don't actually see that comes out here. We move on to the big battle. Dharma gets himself surrounded by a literal army of like grunts and such. Uh, the 10 change and roll call in combat. They all try to do their poses in suit and such while fighting. Some pull it off better than others. It's all really good. I think either Balance or Hame would be the winner for this, though.
I know helmetless roll call is pretty much a standard for these guys in Sentai in general, but I'm gonna be honest, I liked this more than I usually do helmetless ones. This was awesome! I loved this! It was creative, it was innovative. And with 10 people, come on. I mean, we haven't gotten that since KyuuRanger, and even they did the normal version of it. So it was a really, really fun start to one of the biggest freaking battles in the history of this show.
It actually did remind me a lot of the KyuuRanger's final roll call, except I feel this one was done a bit better. That one didn't feel right to me when I was watching it. It felt a little lacking.
Like this henshin and roll call was really really well done for me. It because like I enjoy the, as I've said throughout all this, the more live action roll calls rather than the constant let you CG. And with this one, it still was able to be a roll call and still keep the intensity of what's going on, because they're all of them are surrounded by enemies as they're doing all this. So it's like the stakes still feel high, and it feels fluid enough with how they do it because they're still in the process of fighting as they're doing their poses. And it's very well done, and it feels amazing when you're watching it. It's very, very well done. Even with Hami doing her little chameleon little pose, I just love it.
Uh, so they all break off into their own groups again to spread out and fight, basically. Uh, we get some of the best moments at this point. Spada and Raptor take on the mechs together. Balance and Naga have each other's backs. And then they start dropping. And this is where things get real intense. Spot, I believe, is like shot out of his mech, and Raptor rushes to his aid. Stinger, Champ, and Kotaro are all surrounded. You see Balance drop over, and then you just see him shut off. And Naga falls behind him, saying like, yeah, thank you for teaching me all those emotions, before he passes out. Like, they're straight up dying here. We were talking about how, like, oh man, they're all gonna make it to the ends. Like, well, right now it doesn't look like it. I'm sorry, I can't really collect my thoughts about this right now. King, you talk.
I understand them splitting up to take on troops, and ultimately, it doesn't matter how much they're split up, they are all biting off more than they can chew, and they know it. And there's one thing I want to talk about before I talk about what made me take a break from watching this for 10 minutes straight. It's the fact that it was shot beforehand in a way that at first I didn't understand it, and then it hit me when I watched it again. Right before they all start dropping, they keep showing scenes at random of different people that are fighting at night and at day. Like, some of them are fumbling, some of them get back up. More and more, you can see, despite the random scenes, you can see they're starting to run out of steam. That's the one constant. But other than that, the daytime scenes keep changing from day to night, so on and so forth. It finally hit me why. At the beginning of this episode, Raptor said that Donamaga needs time to recharge. 99 hours. Now, let's say the Rangers got that around, say, midnight. They had 12 hours, and they started at... No, let's not go 12 hours. Let's go 6 hours. So they started at 6 a.m. Let's say it took them about, at most, an hour. 7 a.m. on the first day. That's, I want to say, 90... Sorry for my math, but 92 hours. That's almost 5 days. 4.5 to 5 days. The reason they shot it that way was because that's how long they fought. 4.5 to 5 days straight. No food, no water, no breaks, and I'm pretty sure none of them demorphed willingly. 4.5 to 5 days of morphing. They stopped counting days ago. They've bitten into more of the army than they've ever had in any of their lives. That's insane.
My god, I didn't even think of that. And that holds a lot more weight on Teleki's plan, too.
Exactly. Because none of them knew when this was going to pull off, if at all. And when you see them start dropping, and this is what I meant, Rai, I know you have best moments, and I know Garu hasn't had many. This was Garu's best moment for me.
I was going to say that, actually. Garo deserves this one.
Thank you. Oh my god.
When
Sorry.
He unhesitantly jumps in front of Lucky to take that blaster shot and says, "Leave this to me, you guys go." And then you see him surrounded by everything, and he starts to fight, and then he just gets devastated immediately, just shot out of the air. Like, yeah, okay, Garo, you earned one.
You're not dying before me, remember? And of course, say your prayers. That was heart-wrenching to hear. And seeing Oriongo just taking on robots left and right, and Spada, oh god. Oh man, just seeing Kajiki Voyager just get shot down, and like you said earlier, Rai, I am so happy to see this finally come to fruition. Like, the two of them really care about each other to that point, beyond just crushes, and seeing them just not stop blasting, and then Raptor trips, and then nothing, they're gone. That... Jesus! And I'm trying to make this quick, because I know there's a lot. Like, seeing the trio, like, Singer, Champ, Kotaro... Oh my god! That hit so damn hard! Just seeing them scratched, bruised, Champ missing parts, for God's sakes. Just bomb rushing any and every enemy they see as they're being blasted. And this is somebody we've seen die before, somebody who tried a suicide attack before, and a fucking 10-year-old. These three have been on the brink of death at least once, if not more. To see them go out like this, I can't put it into words. But Naga's imbalance, I think, was the most painful, because Did either of you notice what Balance said before he shut off?
He said something?
Yes.
What did he say?
Naga. He said Naga, and then he shut down.
Oh my god, I'm gonna cry.
Uh-huh. Starting to see why I did? If not already. I swear, like, and Naga just dropping like a rock and saying all of the emotions he's gained and felt by any means. I don't care about Akamba. He gained emotions through that. All of that he's gained.
And he
He
has
gained with
Balance to
them
thank
and
for it.
balls. So to see him thank him for that before just dropping. Oh god. Okay, I'm gonna stop here because I'm gonna cry again and I've talked for way too long.
Like this entire scene was just perfectly perfectly done, especially now that King has explained the issue I had with this entire episode was the fact that some scenes were at night, some scenes were at day, and there was really no explanation kind of given as to why. But that does make sense. It was showing the passage of time from day to day to day to day. So it makes sense with the way they did it. I feel that could have been a little bit more clear with it in terms of because it was really just Balance and Naga that were at night. Everybody else was during the day. So it's
If
like I think if it would have been like they'd have shown Lucky fight during the day, cut to somebody else, then Lucky at night, then somebody else, and then Lucky during the day. I mean, if they would have done it that way to where I think it would have been more consistent in explaining that that's what it was supposed to show was the progression of time, and basically that they're running out of time for Lucky's plan, even though we have no idea what that plan is. And then to see each group just bite it sucked ass. Because I was sitting there like, literally through this entire fight, as they're dropping one by one, I'm like, what? Is Lucky literally going to be the only one that survives this? Because I miscalculated my weeks. I thought this was the final episode,
no, next week.
which I realized that at the end of this episode that there was another one.
When it ended and there was still a final fight to be done.
Yeah, I'm like,
I wouldn't put it past them to do that.
but I'm like, I was sitting there shocked in disbelief as everybody died. I hate to admit it, I did kind of get a chuckle at Garo's. Because, well, yes, it is the most badass moment, and he deserves it, and he earned it. I just thought it was funny that he went, okay, I'm going to whoop your ass now, and then just immediately gets shot out of the air by like 9 different people. I thought it was kind of funny.
I
because of the way that they handled his character. And but like everybody else was theirs was just heartbreaking. You get Naga, listing all the emotions he's gained throughout the series, and the fact that Naga died or Balance Knight died before him, which, with the way everything was kind of pointed out, was who Naga feared losing was Balance. So for the fact that he had to basically live through Balance's death was kind of heartbreaking. Then you get Raptor and Spada and their "I love you" thing. I guess that's the closest we're gonna get. Of, you need to cook us all food. Well, you need to be here to eat it. And then basically both of them just trying to protect each other was like everything about this scene was just like heart-wrenching and powerful. And like I said, it's like led up to the wait a minute, you mean to tell me literally only Lucky lives? because that's what it leads to for this episode primarily is, well, and obviously Lucky, whatever Lucky has planned, he's literally the only one who makes it. So it's like, well, fuck. And like I said, it was just very, very well done, and I did almost cry because of Naga.
So with Garo, you have him saying like, "I won't die before you." He's saying like, "Your plan won't kill me. I trust you on this." You for Naga and Balance, you have them saying their goodbyes to each other, like, "If the plan doesn't work, thank you." But with Raptor and Spada, you have them talking about protecting you. They're not talking about the plan when they're protecting each other. They're just focusing on what's in front of them, what's happening in the moment. I don't know if that was intentional or what, but I there's like a layer to that really speaks to how they feel about each other. Uh, because when all else is dead and Lucky's the one that remains, Darnamage absorbs the rest of them. Lucky then thrusts his Kyuutama into Darnamage's body. With all 12 Kyuutamas collected within him, all of them can fight against him from inside and break out. If it failed, they would have died in vain. And this is where it really like comes together about how they were reacting to their deaths. Like I was saying, Raptor and Spada weren't talking about some plan like the others were. They were just focusing on each other in the moment. Tsurugi is amazed and both shocked that they would try a plan like that, as risky as it was, and that it worked. With all 12 back together, they are ready to take on Darnamage. And that is how the episode ends. Next week is the finale, and I almost can't believe it. One more episode. One final roll call. One final battle.
Okay. Seeing Lucky and Henry attempt to fight Armage at first was... I know that him saying some catchphrases felt a little forced, but I saw it as a way of Armage's regressing him. Like, he's falling back on his old nastier habits. Like, he doesn't see the man he so much faith and trust in as a partner and a friend. And one of the warriors proved herself in his eyes. All he sees is a person who relies on dumb luck and a little girl. So I felt like them at first fighting this was him regressing, becoming the man we started with, the man none of us wanted a thing to do with because of Armage. And seeing them try to find any opening at all in this, it was hard to watch. And of course, seeing everything just spiral downward, just Hammy getting blasted, everybody getting sucked in, and the Psycho Kyuutama just smashing. Them dying, that was the start of it. This felt like finally we are at the center of the corkscrew, and we are spiraling fast. And seeing Lucky just talk about how, as you guys said earlier, their bonds have grown so much. Lucky's and Tsurugi's have too. We didn't get to see it in the start of the episode, but we do here. because these two have grown so much as KyuuRanger, as partners, as friends. So to see him desperately try any and all attempts to get Tsurugi to hear him is insane. And this plan is one of the craziest I have ever seen. Like, as we have said, and as many have probably said, this is an easy show to compare with Kyoryu. It's similar numbers, not exact, but pretty similar. And their finales were fast, and they got to the point. But the difference here is that Lucky knew that he couldn't leave a single one of them out of this in order for this to work. The difference, and I'm not bagging on KyuuRanger in any way, the difference here is that King was able to find a way so that nobody else could get hurt. So that if anybody had to die, he was going to be the one to do it. Here, Lucky knows we don't have any other options. So we might as well take the best one where we all come out. And to see that plan finally make it after so many days, so many killing of his soldiers, his bots, all of it, to finally see it come to a head and see everybody together, ready and waiting to fight. This stubborn, arrogant, cocky son of a bitch in one last fight is absolutely incredible. And I can't even begin to express in words how much I adored.
Like, let's take a moment and just think about the logic that Lucky put into this plan. Because it shows the desperation that they were at to defeat Don Armage. This entire plan hinged on everybody dying, and then Don Armage sucking them up as well. Something that was literally just pure luck. Because there was no guarantee that Don Armage would do that.
And Lucky even acknowledged, like, hey, this plan, if it fails, will kill you. So don't feel obligated to join in.
You know, it's like it shows the desperation that they were at to go, you know what, this is the best option we have.
And then even after it worked, Tsurugi was like, why the fuck did you do something like that?
Right.
Because we're the luckiest and dumbest sons of bitches you're gonna find.
Because Suguri basically goes, this should not have worked. That's basically what Suguri was doing, pointing out that none of this should have worked. But it did, because Lucky is Mr. Miracle Man. Which, in this instance, it was very, very well done and is one of the very few excusable moments that it's happened, in my opinion. Because his plan works out, and this one is not so much of his luck. Well, outside of Don Armage sucking him up, this one was literally just the power of the Q-Tamas. That's it. Everything that happened from the moment Don Armage sucked them all up was literally the Q-Tamas. Because if he would have just sucked up the bodies and left the Q-Tamas, then that would have been the end of it. But it was the power of the Q-Tamas all together inside Don Armage that made everything possible. So this was a miracle that was not of Lucky's design. This was a miracle that he had hoped for, which makes this entire miracle a lot more valid, rather than like the Orion, the Psycho Hutama with its first appearance. was just more. It was, to me, that was just more of a let's just give this power up to this guy, and kind of just blah 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 miracle as an explanation. This legitimately was a fucking miracle. And like I said, it shows the desperation that they had. The Suguri points out that this shouldn't have worked. And now everybody is set for the final battle. And the fact that I was honestly not expecting anybody to come back to life. Especially Sho. Because, I mean, that seemed kind of final with the way it went in the last episode. But I'm glad it brought him back as well. It sets up for an amazing final fight. So I am a little disappointed it's 12-on-1. It's a little one-sided in my book.
Hopefully we can still get a good final fight out of it. Unlike the last Sentai, KyuuRanger, their final fight was kind of a mess.
That's an understatement.
And I didn't see Ninja's final battle, but I didn't hear people saying they liked it.
Honestly, you don't really need to.
In fact, I heard people complain about it because it teased one thing about it that could have made it better than it was. So it seems like KyuuRanger is breaking this chain of bad finales. One thing that kind of upset me was that when you get the shot of them bursting, like making their final attack to burst out of Darnamage, is that they didn't say All-Star Crash. Like Vashi said, it was the power of the Kyuutamas, so it makes sense that they weren't say anything. I just would have appreciated that.
In hindsight, I kind of wish they would have. But it was really, really well done. I will admit there's one aspect of the final rush before the end of the episode that bothered me.
Which was?
Everybody clicked their Kyuutama.
Yeah?
Suguri did not have his sword and shield.
Oh.
How is he gonna change? How is he gonna change? And is it magical?
I think we've established by now that the Kyuutama are magical.
Pretty much, yeah.
But like the sword and shield were kind of technically separate. They worked kind of the same way as the Moa Slider.
Well, get ready for like the opening in next week when he just magically has it.
Yes.
Okay,
So I was sitting there going, it's like he doesn't have it. He should have it. He had it in the, Kyuutama All-Star Crash. Now he doesn't.
Do you guys remember way back, like, first episode when we had, like, Spawn and Raptor go off with him on their own, that sort of thing? Remember when the CG Phoenix came flying down out of nowhere and that became his shield?
No, but okay.
There's your explanation. He's gonna do that again.
I kind of hope.
I kind of hope that.
I kind of hope that happens because that was awesome.
See, it'll even add badass credentials.
Because like I said, the issue I have with him not having it at the moment is if he doesn't have it at the start and still transforms, is like that was his transformation device.
Right.
And the fact that it wasn't, like I said, it was more of the Moa Slider because he had it when he wasn't transformed.
He's going to have it one way or another. Even if they start the next episode already transformed, that's not going to be the final roll call. They're going to untransform for some reason.
It's Darnamage. They're going to untransform for 10 minutes.
But we have the ultimate speculation now, because because the series is supposed to break the mold. Are they going to continue the tradition of the final roll call being helmetless?
That's a damn good question.
I kind of hope so, because I would love for them to encourage Power Rangers to do that as well. I don't know if Power Rangers has been doing it, actually.
I don't think they have, but
Not
I've not been
really.
watching it.
Not really.
I
The
know,
last time I can remember it was Super Mega Force.
I was gonna say, I know that they did it for that one, and that it was very inferior to the GoKaiger equivalent.
Because it was so CG, it's not even funny.
Well, it was so CG'd, and that entire fucking final scene was literally the beginning of GoKaiger.
Pretty much, yeah.
Oh my god. They had the stock footage for that final battle, which is one of the best final battles in Sentai, and they didn't use it.
No, they did not. They went with the, hey, let's just use the start of a fight. Or start of a series as the end. America will never notice.
Except us.
Toku Portal, calling Saban out on their shit.
So, for the final of KyuuRanger, where they're like breaking off like character by character, and they during their roll call like that, I was kind of disappointed that it became just Red at the end for like literally delivering the final blow. Although I guess King put it in a good way in that like it was very risky, and so King was trying to like put it on himself.
Wait, me or him?
Him, Daigo, okay? Kiryu Red.
Worth a shot.
But I was worried that that kind of thing was happening here. Where it's like, oh, is it just going to come down to Lucky beating him up? Sort of, but not quite. Especially considering everyone else just straight up fucking died. Like, in my mind, like, that just justifies it all. Like, of course it's only Lucky left. There's only Lucky left.
Try saying that 3 times fast.
After how good this week's roll call was, I actually do hope that we get a really good final roll call with all 12 of them. Helmetless or no, although I hope it's helmetless. I want to see the actors themselves do the poses.
I just really, really hope they do a better job than GyuuRangers. GyuuRangers looked terrible.
Okay, look at it this way. They can't pull anything else with the villain at the last minute. They're pretty much done to do with the villain. So no sidetrack. Which means, in that respect alone, it's probably going to be better.
GyuuRanger's biggest mistake is that it also did the final roll call in front of a green screen as well, instead of like in the scene. So that just made it look worse. It shared a very similar problem to Go Buster's final roll call, wherein they did a dual thing of them suiting up with their helmets coming on, and then they did a side-by-side of like the actor next to the suit doing the poses, except the actors weren't doing the same poses as the suit, except for Beatbuster.
Well, in fairness to Beatbuster, he's just, done the same pose for, what, ever?
My point is that, like, they should have all been doing the same pose as the suit, and they weren't. He was the only one that did it, and he was the only one that looked super good because of it.
Like, that drove me nuts with, like, the ending for, like, the ToQger movie. Because I just recently watched that. Like, because with most of these, they do the whole side-by-side as well. But, like, with, like, Tokachi's, like, he'd push up his glasses with his right hand, but the suited version would do it with his left. It's like, no, that's wrong. That's completely wrong. Stop that.
One thing I will give GyuuRanger to its credit, the suit actors did a good job of learning the other actors' mannerisms, so that they still acted like that character in suit. Very few Sentai put in that much effort. final thoughts? Anything you guys want to say?
Holy motherfucking criminally. How's that?
Yeah, that was something.
Oh my god. That that's pretty much how I want to sum up this episode. And I I am putting high hopes in next week that's also going to be able to sum it up then too. And I feel confident that it will. So as much as I am mortified, saddened, agonized by the fact that we are getting rid of the first Sentai I ever watched week to week, and what let me be with you guys. As sad as I am to see it go, I cannot wait to see this.
Aw, King made me feel special. Um, this with the way this series started, I hated this series. The end of the first arc made me. Was the start of this series redeeming itself. As with this episode alone, I forgive everything that started it with the start of this series except Garu. I forgive everything. The la- the last couple of episodes, in my opinion, has redeemed every dumb ass thing that this series started with. And I cannot wait to see what happens how next week's episode plays out. Considering how amazing the last two episodes alone have been.
For every Sentai, I like to reflect on each character's finest moment. Last episode and this one cover most of them. Some might argue pretty much all of them. I would say Lucky and Naga are up for debate. And possibly Balance as well on whether their finest moments were this episode or another ones. But holy shit, did most characters truly shine this episode? And I can't wait to see them shine next episode. Thanks for joining us tonight. We'll be back tomorrow with Kamen Rider Build, and then next Tuesday we'll be going over the finale of Uchuu Sentai KyuuRanger.
Fire up the Voyagers and get your Kitamas, guys. We're in the home stretch now. Later, taters.
Thank you all for joining. We look forward to seeing you guys next week.
See you next time.